So how do you be holy without being weird? Let's talk about it. This is Bite Size Theology. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bite Size Theology, a ministry of Springfield First, where we tackle big topics around faith, one bite at a time. I'm your host, Allison Means, and today I'm joined by Nick Jordan, and we're talking about whether being holy means you're weird. How do you be normal and follow Jesus?
How do you be normal and follow Jesus? Well, I don't think you're supposed to be normal. Supposed to be. I don't like that phrase necessarily, but I don't think the goal is to be normal.
I generally think normal is an illusion and doesn't truly exist.
Sure. I think there are two kinds of weird, and one is not helpful, and one is, I think, the way that things are, and maybe even the way they're supposed to be. The not helpful would be that sometimes you'll have some story that comes through the news, or you'll have a friend that talks to you about how someone stopped liking them because they were a Christian, and if you've been around people over time, you start to think like, well, is this because you believe in Jesus and trust in him with your life, or is this something that you're bringing alongside this, and the way that you talk about it, or the way that you express it, or the way that you show respect or the lack of it to other people, maybe of different beliefs, or just different conversations and that sort of thing. So I do think that there is I think some of that question before us, like, can you be holy without being weird? Yes, that kind. I think. I mean, some of that's just like personalities.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is a weirdness to the faith that seems to be inherent to it, just because it shows up in the scriptures. I think a lot that they're just. There are a lot of characters in the scriptures, I guess.
Yes, there are.
that do weird things or have odd motivations. But I think some of the weirdest are when you look at the people who seem like they're closest to God, or at least are speaking for God sometimes, like the prophets, do all kinds of weird things, say all kinds of weird things, practice all kinds of weird things. I think even like the life of worship is kind of a strange thing to do. If it's not true, then it's just weird. Yeah. But it doesn't stop being weird because it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like you have the temple worship, and this has to be these dimensions and made out of that kind of wood and have this kind of fibers and all this sort of stuff. That's weird. That's strange.
Yeah.
Unless God is holy and we put God at the center of what we're doing, and then it's kind of not weird. It's more kind of either artistic or creative or joining in God's creativity. And then what I was saying about the prophets, I mean, you have these guys who will do things like, okay, God told me to walk around naked for 3 years, and so I did it. So that's Isaiah.
Skip me on that one, God.
Jeremiah talks about God told me to bury my underwear in the riverbank and then to get them out later, and now they're ruined, and this represents this, and so on. And that's a very weird thing to do. And then you have Ezekiel that's told by God to lay on one side for so many days and lay on the other side, his other side, for so many days, and cook his food over animal dung, and all this kind of very, very strange things that he's told to do.
Yeah.
Now, these are not given to us as, if you're a good Christian, then you'll walk around naked for 3 days, or cook your food over dung, or all this.
Bury your underwear in the riverbank.
Yeah. It's more like but I do think it illustrates that God is not like us, and sometimes when we're like God, they're weird things, and some of that is that we have our own personalities. When God calls us, God calls our whole selves, and we bring our whole weird selves to whatever God's doing.
Yes, I find that to be so comforting.
Yeah.
Like, God knows exactly how strange we are, and he said, and I love that about you.
Yeah, and I think, like when Jesus talks about the sheep, I think I would look at a herd of sheep, and I would not know the difference among them. But if you're a shepherd and you're there day in and day out, and you helped birth them, and
You're
they
like,
were
Fluffy's
sick.
got a
right?
lazy eye,
Yeah.
and Jennifer has a weird leg,
That's
and
right.
yeah.
That's right. And if you're a good shepherd or the good shepherd, then you love them all as
Right.
they are, and you know their quirks and their interests, and you love them for exactly who they are. And even like you look at the disciples, and we don't know a ton about them, but they do seem to be kind of individuals, I guess.
Yeah.
And brought together in these configurations. They wouldn't have chosen to be with each other. So they are, maybe we don't know if they're weird on their own, but they're certainly weird when they get together. Like what else would draw them together except Jesus called them to be together.
Right.
And I think that to me sheds light on the question as well of, do you have to be weird to be holy? Well, Jesus calls weird people and calls people into weird configurations, and this is a good thing, and this is a work of creation. And that's apart from just like look at creation itself and all the weird looking things that are out there.
So many
Yeah.
platypus.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, come on.
And so why what's wrong with weird, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So again, there's that like, what's wrong with weird? Well, if it's off-putting, and the thing that's
That, I think,
off-putting
is
is
the
not the gospel itself, but is something that you bring to it.
Right.
But if the weird is something that God made you on purpose and formed you and called you on purpose, then the weird is incorporated into God. And I also think that there's even a certain kind of hallowing of our weirdness sometimes. Like we have those things that they might make it harder at some point in our life to make relationships with others. But we get to know God, and we find that there's a wholeness there that other people actually need that from us.
Yeah.
In order to have a better understanding of who God is, how big God's love is. Like if we feel weird, then there's a certain at least I'm helping other people know just how big God's love is. So
If God can love me,
if God can love this other person, then maybe I can do that. But then it moves beyond that, and we start seeing the weird as something particularly beloved, I think.
Yeah.
That it's really we share things in personality, but the people that we really love, it's their quirks that we are interested in, that we notice and that are endearing to us. And I do think that's weirdness to me.
Yeah. I agree with that completely. Like the things that make you are things that are different from other people.
Yeah.
And like, that's what makes the world so wonderful.
Right.
That the creation that God made all of these different little things about us.
Yeah.
And that's something to be celebrated. And I actually think that celebration of uniqueness and weirdness, in that it is a reflection of God and God's love, is something that can set us apart even. If we think about, kind of homogenized normal.
Right.
It suppresses a lot of those things that are special and beautiful and wonderful about each of us. And if we are weird for embracing those things, or for recognizing that we're image bearers of God, like there's a family resemblance between us and God, and it includes the weird stuff.
Yes.
That's
true.
weird in and of itself.
To think about like what is weird in me that like actually has something to do with the image of God.
Right.
But I do think that there's I think there's a calling for the church within that kind of inclusion that Jesus practices, and that his followers practice, that there's no, like, what does weirdness mean when there's no longer insiders and outsiders?
Right.
When we're to welcome all people and believe that that we're more rich and more whole and more faithful, like as we embrace everybody and make space for everybody. And some of that, especially the things that you could label as weird, but are really just certain things make it harder for other people's lives, and the church should be a place where people are welcomed and make it easier. Sometimes make it more welcoming. And so I don't know how often it's in front of the minds of like individual Christians of like it matters for our building that you can come in on one single level, that there aren't a ton of steps. And I've pastored in older churches where we really do wonder, like, people have always gotten old. Why are there 19 steps here? Or we've always had funerals here. Why is it so hard to get a casket around this like winding staircase or whatever? Like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Who was this planned for? And knowing that, how can we plan better?
Yeah.
So some of that gets into like accessibility things. Some of it gets into just recognizing like sensory kind of stuff. And I think we all know that it feels very much of this moment to talk about inclusion or to talk about diversity in those ways. But every church always has had people who their vision has gotten worse over time and they might need help in different ways, or their hearing has gotten worse over time and they might need help in different ways, or they've gotten injured, or they've continued to age and their mobility changes. And so are you weird then because you're not, the Olympian or you're not the athlete, or you're not the person with a high IQ or whatever. No, you belong. And to the extent that we exclude, we're excluding the image of God. And to the extent that we include, that we're including the image of God, the full breadth of it that we see in creation.
Yeah. In all of its weird beauty.
Yeah. All of its weird beauty. Yeah.
And then kind of in a different like direction of it, if the thing that is weird about you is a behavior or something that has changed from before you knew Jesus to after because you won't engage in things that are sinful.
Sure.
That's not bad.
No.
That's good weird.
Right.
That's set apart. That's holiness is inherently kind of weird.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree with that. That there is anytime that you see people, you see it throughout the scriptures. We think about it in our own time, but like for Abraham to say, no, there's just one God.
Weird.
It's just super weird, and nobody understood. And that was true even to like Roman times, that they really, they talked about Christians and Jews to a certain extent as atheists because they like,
because they only had one God.
Yeah, if you only have one God, do you really believe in the gods at all? And so there is this weirdness, but it also came along with, this child is born with a disability, and they were being, set out to die in Roman culture and lots of traditional cultures. And the Christians said, no, we'll take them in, we'll bring them in.
Yeah.
There were people who had great status and great power that didn't want to be around the Christians because it tended to be good news to the poor. And so that character of that kind of weird, where everybody has a place, and where Christ is seen in everyone. I mean, it really would have been repellent to initial Roman hearers to hear that blessed are the poor, blessed are the weak, blessed are the meek, blessed of all things is the one who died,
right? The
King who died, and so that's kind of the upside down nature of the kingdom of heaven, that it is for all us weirdos, that and tells us that we bear the image of God and we are beloved, and it keeps calling us to see that everybody else is beloved, and when you're talking about weirdness as an illusion, part of the harm of the illusion is if we let it settle over other people.
Right.
Sometimes we turn it on ourselves and are jerks to ourselves, but sometimes we make those assumptions and those judgments about other people rather than like, oh, there's a kind of person I've never met before, and I'm thankful to see that. And I do think that that's kind of the nature of the church, of drawing people together who otherwise would not be together, but because of the love of God, they've come to see their one another's belovedness and are able to speak to it to each other.
Yeah, a bunch of holy weirdos.
Yeah,
I love it. Well, thanks for being a holy weirdo with me today, Nick.
absolutely.
And thank you guys for coming and being holy weirdos with us too. We'll see you on the next episode of Bite Size Theology. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Bite Size Theology, where we take big ideas about faith and break them down one bite at a time. We hope today's conversation has helped you grow in your understanding and sparked new insights on your journey of faith. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And as always, if you have questions or you want to dive deeper into today's topic, feel free to reach out. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep growing.